Reverend David, the school chaplain here. The Lord be with you. Last term we were celebrating Black History Month and we were talking to students with African and Caribbean heritage about their experiences of being teenagers in Britain today. In this college worship we're broadening the discussion to include students of colour from other ethnic backgrounds as well, as you'll hear. What follows are edited highlights of a much longer discussion where students were free to offer their insights and views on how they feel about being people of colour in our society today. The Bible verse this week is, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." So keep that in mind as you hear what's being said.
What are your cultural backgrounds?
I'm Martina Wilson and my cultural background is half Jamaican and half British.
I'm Jason Perenbam and my cultural background is Indian.
I'm Kieran Crenna and my cultural background is also half Caribbean, half British.
I'm Arafat Siddiqui and my cultural background is Bangladesh.
I'm Farah Ahmed. My cultural background is Palestinian, Pakistani.
How does your cultural background affect your everyday life?
But obviously being a different race is something that I have to deal with every single day.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's so in my face that I think about every single day. I feel like people treat me the same as everyone else because I'm their peer. But I feel sometimes there can be little microaggressions, little things that people say sometimes to do with your hair or that especially. I feel sometimes people don't notice what they're saying or
It's because they think your hair's different, they feel the need to mention it,
comment
on it, and it's there's no need for it. If their hair was different, say a white person's hair was different, you wouldn't comment on it the way you comment on someone else's hair.
Because you are different, they are the majority. When you do something that they're not used to, they feel what you are doing is the wrong thing.
Feels wrong.
Even though it might not be wrong, it might just be what you're doing is different. It's hard to explain.
Do you feel that people make assumptions about what you believe and how you might act based on your race?
In Asian minority groups, I feel religion is a big part of it, especially from Asia, that side. I feel people just assume your religion sometimes or jump to conclusions about who you are as a person. I don't know, stereotypes as well play a big part into that.
You're walking through town, it's a religious day for a Muslim or so on, and you're wearing Muslim religious clothing, right? I'll walk through town, you're wearing it, and I will genuinely just get stares for no reason. It's subtle, but you still notice it. You can feel it on you, but you just try to not take notice of it, because at the end of the day, it's what they've been accustomed to. It's what they've been shown on news and so on. That's what I feel like. So I don't really blame them for how they're seeing me and they're oh, terrorist, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just what they've been taught, what they've been shown, not what they might not actually believe in. Because if, let's say, they were cultured into it, they wouldn't believe that at all.
How do these attitudes make you feel, and how do you react to people treating you like a stereotype?
It used to bother me quite a lot, not as a kid growing up, but now I'm more aware of it. It's not as big of a deal to me.
I also feel people starting to address the issue of media representation of the minority ethnic groups, and they're starting to realise that the media presenters are addressing things in certain ways to push a certain agenda or a certain message which is being imprinted on the people.
What do you notice about people's behaviour around you?
You know when people say something stereotypical towards you, they feel as if you shouldn't react to it. So if you do react to it, you're the bad person. So then you feel that you shouldn't react to it anymore. So you should get more used to it, them saying stuff to you. That's basically at the end of the day what it is. I just leave it. There's no point, because if you say something then and create a big old thing, and then you'll be one overreacting over something that you should be overreacting over.
I feel also people don't feel they have to be careful about what they say, and then people start to act differently around you, and they're oh, this person might react this way if I say something like that. People become more sensitive. I think people should just I don't know,
they feel that you're sensitive. They feel like they have to be careful about what they say around you.
And then it's like giving you weird looks if you like,
Yeah.
if you pull a face or something.
No, you're conscious of it. You can tell.
It's the
Yeah.
way that
'Cause-
like they like approach it. Like it's the way they act before they say it. Like they think about it, and like you can see them thinking about it. So you just like, there's just no point in saying it if you have to think about what you have to say.
Because they feel like, oh, they have to say it in their head to make sure it doesn't sound like, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like don't say it
condescending
then.
or, you know, anything like that.
Because they know it's condescending, but they're
Yeah.
trying to make it come across as not condescending.
Yeah, like if you're in a group and they say it, like they look at everyone else and they all start looking at you.
What can change people's attitudes about race?
Punishment is a short-term
It just-
solution,
or-
but not long-term.
Exactly.
Also, punishment like increases like I don't think it increases like hate because I
Yeah.
feel like punishment
just makes them
like
angry.
oh
Makes it worse.
this person has got me in trouble. I'm
Yeah.
going to continue to not like them and continue to like be racist or like think about them in a certain way. Whereas if you were to like, okay, you said this, we're going to educate you. You shouldn't have said that. These are the reasons why, and they explain like context and like
You can't-
history.
You can't treat it like it's just another behavioural problem.
Exactly. Because racism is different to behaviour. Because behaviour is not really, it's the way you act, whereas racism is the way you think and the way you speak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, have you heard this thing that's like, you have to be like a diverse where they pick someone, I don't know, it's like non-racist
Oh
where you
my
pick
God,
someone for
yeah.
being brown.
Right.
The idea of
But I
picking
feel like that might
people
have happened.
just to have a culturally diverse like
Just
group,
show.
or just to be like, okay, we are culturally diverse,
Yeah.
we've got this range of people, and picking
It's
people
just-
just because of their skin colour, I really don't think that's like fair, or like it might be not fair on the white people, but it's also unfair on like the people of colour, because it feels like, oh, they've only picked me because I'm a certain
Yeah,
colour,
not what I'm
Yeah.
capable of.
not who they actually are.
Yeah.
I feel like
What
it's
they've
super annoying.
achieved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just because I look a certain way doesn't mean I should be picked out. I should be, you know, highlighted. I should be highlighted
Being
for my
shown off in a
attributes.
wrong way.
Exactly.
But
You
it's
should
quite-
be-
it
I don't
should
understand
know
why
it's-
people would want to be into that. Like, why would you want that? Like,
Well,
that's
You
Let's
should
be shown off
based-
what
Why
you've
would you want
achieved,
to
not
be
what you
known
look like.
as a person of colour? You want to be known as a person who's academically good, or
What
You
you're
want to be known,
capable of.
yeah.
you know.
Oh, the person as you actually are.
yeah,
Rather than being known, okay, I'm brown, so I've got more chance of going because they haven't got a culturally diverse group. So they need to pick more culturally diverse people. I'd rather not. I'd rather be like, oh, I am like good at what I'm doing, so I've been selected rather than just skin colour.
Do you think your ethnicity will affect your job opportunities?
100%. In certain areas, there are. Not even of just people of colour. You know, even race, gender, anything, religion, even. It's not just. It's more. It's not just about colour. It's more about, you know, how people treat each other.
Yeah, I think prejudice is always going to be there. As
Yeah.
much as we say it's getting better,
It's,
I think people just don't show it because they're scared, but it's still there.
What can change people's attitudes about race?
Fixing media representation. I feel like that's where the roots of all stereotypes or all like prejudice thoughts come from. Because lots of people, where they find out information is online. So like a lot about what's going on like around the world, like the fighting, everything, especially in like Asian countries. I feel like that creates a stereotype. Oh, Asians are violent, or Asians act this way. Religion, people such religion.
extremists,
Yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like
I feel like if the media was to represent it in like how it's actually going on, or like actually like focus on the facts, I feel like people have a better understanding, will be more considerate and more aware rather than ignorant and like, I don't know, like being taught the wrong things.
Do you think racial prejudice will increasingly decline?
I feel like it will get better, like, as we go on. Obviously, the older generations have been taught different things to the younger generations. Like, the younger generations have been becoming more educated. As we pass that down, it's going to be like getting better and better because we're not going to have the mindsets that the older generations did. But like, in a way, I feel like it's just not. It's always going to be.
there's always going to be that.
It's
one
always going to be
person,
there, like,
you know?
because like, it's just. But this is what I mean. Like, it's always going to be like happening. That there's always going to be someone, or like, yeah, there's always going to be like a group of people who are going to be like prejudiced or like racist.
So you see like, oh, they got away with it, or like no one said anything about it. It creates
think
like
it's
an
okay.
influence. They think it's okay. Then that gets passed on and passed on. I feel that's where it gets spread out. Whereas if you crack down on people and tell them no, that's not okay, and they know, and other people see that, oh, what they've done is wrong, then that also gets spread. Like the message of that gets spread around. Then more people become more aware.
Do to others as you would have them do to you is the Bible verse that you'll find in your diaries for this week. It's about treating everyone with kindness regardless of our differences. And it's about our whole society doing this. It's a vision where everyone can stand equally, shoulder to shoulder, and it requires that we all reflect and think about what we're going to stand up for and what we're going to take a stand against to make that a reality. Just reflect on that for a moment as you think about whether there is anything you need to change in the way you think, speak, and act, having listened to the students talking in this worship today. Dear Lord, you have created the people of this world in your own image. Help us celebrate, rejoice in, and learn from the different cultures, languages, and races by which you have enriched humanity. Amen.